thank you for reaching out. Like, I love when people do this. People don't even know that, like, update episodes, because I think it was like February, right? When we talked first.
Yeah.
So much has changed in your life, it sounds like, since then. And I think people want to hear that. There's inspectors that are like, oh yeah, I remember James. Like, what the heck's he doing now? So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's one of those things where the reason why I sent you that email is because so much stuff has changed, man. I've learned so much. And, taking into a lot of the stuff from other podcasts that I listen to, because I listen to every single one. And I've gained so much information that, man, sometimes I sit and I think, how many other inspectors are kind of in the same boat, and
Yes.
they're lost and they're confused and whatnot. And because I will say that as a business owner, say someone is listening to this and they're starting out, it's a lonely place to be, because you try looking at Facebook and all that stuff, and that can not be the most positive aspect, right? And so, so since we did the podcast, so I left UPS March 31st, and hired my first employee, who started in June and onboarded in June, and now in July started full on doing inspections. I brought in an office team. And when I say office team, I use Small Hive. So shout out to them.
Yeah.
And business has been wonderful. So last year I was part-time, and I'm okay with sharing numbers, by the way, and we'll talk about that. But, last year part-time, I think I did 166 or something like that. That was me doing it part-time while working full-time.
Amazing year. Yeah.
And this year, my goal was 250, and it looks like we're going to be at 279 or 280. And so for me, that's a huge success. I know a lot of people might listen to this or listen to a podcast and they hear about someone saying, "Oh, we did 500 inspections or 600 inspections," but I think one of the things that you've got to pay attention to is that set yourself a goal, live by that goal. And if you achieve that goal, you're successful, right? If I would have said, "Hey, I want 600 inspections this year," one is that's not even a smart goal, because it's not even realistic, right? But if you set yourself a goal and do that goal, then you're successful. So it doesn't matter. People can talk about numbers all day, but for me, a win is 275. I'm over the goal that I wanted to do. I'm making revenue, which I wanted to do. I'm making profit, which I wanted to do, and I have money in savings, and I wanted to do that, right? And it can only go up from here. So, but that's a little bit about what I've experienced, and as far as growth. And then Small Hive has been great. And the inspector that reached out to me to find out that I was hiring, is because he was licensed already and he listened to Spectora podcasts.
What?
He actually had heard me and he said he shared it with his wife, and he said, "Man, this guy lines up with who I want to work for." And so, so he's on board, and he found me because he listened to us.
Wow. This is an amazing exercise in you manifesting your destiny, because, you interacted, you were assertive in getting with me. You got on. Your episode was very popular because it was very relatable in your story of going part-time to full-time and having the job and talking about the realities of it. And then you talk numbers. I think people love what's real. People love to just get to the numbers. Everyone's too shy about talking about that nowadays. So good for you. That's so exciting. So great to hear.
And now we're just trying to focus on being different. I listened to all the other podcasts about what the inspection world is going to look like. And, but even today, I just wanted to kind of spitball with you and let's talk about some ideas and stuff like that, because I feel like, that first of all, that's what I want to listen to.
Yep. Yep.
And so, we want to hire a marketing team, and because I feel like a marketing team can do much better than me.
Mm-hmm.
And so one thing I've learned is about leveraging your time, and I'd rather leverage my time and have somebody else do marketing. And so there's a question I have for you to kind of.
One sec. Let's get to the ideas in a second, but I don't want to gloss over the big kind of milestone of leaving the full-time job. I want you to kind of update people on the thought process there and kind of what that was like emotionally, and if there was any learnings from that, because I know a lot of listeners, they still may have that part-time job, they may have a full-time job still. So I just want to, one, congratulate you on that, and two, just give you a few minutes to talk about that.
Yeah. No, thanks. I think I had it a little bit different than most. I had a job where I could, I'll be honest, they didn't necessarily know that I had an inspection company. I'm not there anymore. So there you go. But,
Yeah.
I had enough freedom in my job to be able to launch something and prepare kind of in the background while doing it, and not worry about, oh my gosh, there's not enough money coming in to survive. So I think it's a little bit different, because a lot of people say, hey, I'm ready to go full time into inspections. I'm going to quit my job.
Cold turkey.
They quit their job and they go cold turkey, right? And they go, and then this phone's not going to ring on its own. It's just not. You can have the best website ever, and your phone's not going to just ring. It's just not. And so, when I quit my job, I already had a good source of agents. So I feel like I was blessed in that way. I was blessed in that way. Mm-hmm. Would I continue with UPS and quit my job and just do a whole nother career in inspections without any marketing first? So definitely, I would say reach out to agents before you make that leap, because that's what I did. People talk about all the time of going to open houses, or listen, I have a lot of my agents that use me because they met me at an open house. And so we can talk about tips and ideas later, but yeah, it was actually a good feeling. Was it a little bit stressful? Well, let's talk about the real stuff. Life insurance, health insurance.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
I'm paying a fortune for health insurance. I just am. It's unbelievable of how expensive it is. UPS has such a great insurance program, and I left that. So that's that's hard. So you got to think about stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I was a little bit stressed on things like that, but I feel like I had enough business coming in for me to be comfortable in making that decision final and being okay with that decision, if that makes sense.
Yes, I believe that the benefits, I have a daughter and a family, so I can say this, but I feel like the benefits excuse sometimes gets in the way and is a barrier to people realizing the unlimited upside that being an entrepreneur has. And so I think it's a scary thing, but it's one of those lines that just gets repeated generation after generation. Oh, they have good benefits. You got to stick with what's safe. And there's a trade-off to everything, right? And I think you're experiencing the great side to that, whereas that cost becomes minuscule, once things take off and you become successful.
I mean, no risk, no reward, right? I mean, that's overused, but that's such a true statement, because you just got to go out there, and the ideas that I have that I want to do, at least for my business in our area, is all risk. It really is.
Yeah.
But that's for me. I'm a risk taker. So,
but the way you kind of laid the groundwork for this over the course of like at least a year, right? Wasn't it at least a year of the pre-planning, the meeting agents, the ramping it up? I love that approach so much more than the ones that go full blast. They turn the hose on for like a month, and then they're feeling disappointed when things don't work out on day 31 or 32. I think you're right. It just doesn't work like that. It's not, in most cases, it's not just a blast the hose on and then you win or lose. Like, give yourself a chance by extending the runway like you did. So big fan of how you did it. Yep,
absolutely. No, it's been great. Listen, yeah, it's been great. I have no complaints, and I was thinking this morning, it's like, man, it's going well. It's a slow week, but I'm not stressed about. You can't let the slow weeks stress you out.
Oh no, yeah, they come.
If anything, the slow weeks should motivate you. If anything, right?
Oh yeah, they light a fire all the time. Down week, what are we doing? And so let's get into the ideas. I love this. This is somewhat of a newish format, so I'm excited to just free flow, see what we can come up with, and see what's on your mind, and we'll go.
Well, here's a question I want to propose to you. So when do you have a home inspection?
Just in general, just if, if I put on my agent hat after you go under contract.
Right. So the way I look at it for the Northwest is we have clients in one side, and then we have agents,
Mhm.
and I got to figure out how to market towards agents. And then there's this client piece, and I would say 99% of our referrals are actually directly from agents. So we're lucky in that way. I feel like in the Northwest,
Mhm.
I'm not fighting over Don Doe and who has better, website and all that stuff. However, I was talking with the marketing team actually this morning about this, but how come clients, homeowners, don't get inspections without being involved in a real estate transaction?
Like just when they live in a home. So year 3,
You bought
4.
a house, you bought a house 8 years ago, and you've never been, we have crawl spaces here. So
Mhm.
you've never been in the attic. You've never been in the crawl space. It's been 8 years. You have no idea what's going on. You notice maybe your water pressure is down. And so what do you do? You don't think about, you don't think about getting a home inspection.
Right. I think it's not a branded thing yet. And I think there's opportunity there. I know the industry has tried the annual home checkup, and maybe it's just not the right packaging. Maybe no one's, I think, just done it in a automated, easy to remember kind of positive way. Yeah. What are you thinking here? What do you think would play well?
Well, first off, you've got to, and I've dialogued with friends about this, and I've asked them the same question. But so one of the things I've learned is you've got to let them know that you're going to solve a problem, and you got to let them know what that problem is. So you've got to actually introduce a problem and bring a problem to surface, right?
Mhm.
So let them know of a problem they didn't know that they had, that they have. You know, I'm going through the. I don't know if you heard of Business Made Simple, but I follow them like crazy, and they're talking about one-liners, right? So what's a one-liner to be able to target your audience? So for example, it'd be something like, "Hey Kevin, did you know that you have water in your crawl space? Did you know that you might have rats and critters up in your attic? When's the last time you checked? Do you have a thermal gun? Did you check to see if you have moisture in the walls? Let us come in and just give you a checkup on your house," right? So it's all about branding and stuff like that. I don't think it's been done, because every time I talk to someone about a home inspection, it's always buy, sell, buy, sell, buy,
Right.
sell, buy,
Right.
sell. And I just think that there's this huge bucket of revenue that we're not even tapped into, right? And the way I look at it is, I used to drive for Uber a while back, and I remember going through all that process and hearing all the negative stuff about the taxi companies, like in New York, who, wait a minute, we've been doing this, so all union and all that good stuff. And the way I look at it is, man, good for Uber and Lyft, right? Somebody came up with an idea. Taxis, it's taxis, right? Taxis have been around for years,
Mhm.
right? And someone decided to go, I'm going to make this, and I'm going to modernize it up, and I'm going to create something new and something different. And that's what they did. And the taxis, you know what? The way I look at it is, the taxi companies could have easily had done the exact same thing. Yellow Cab, that's the
Yeah.
biggest one, right?
Yeah.
Yellow Cab could have done an app, could have hired people off the street to drive their own cars. They could have done that, but they didn't. And then in previous podcasts, we talk about, I know you mentioned, like, what if Home Depot gets into home inspection business, right? What if Lowe's gets into the home inspection business, and all these other bigger, we call it big money, right, into the home inspections? But why wait for that when I feel like there is something? It's like, honestly, Kevin, I feel like it's right there. I just haven't grabbed it yet. I know I'm in the right direction, but I just think that there's a bunch of revenue that we, in the industry, that we don't even have. And to be honest with you, we don't even think of.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's been a lack of creativity up until now. I think there's smarter minds more now than in the 5-6 years I've been around home inspectors thinking about this. And so you'll be happy to hear that we will be enabling the ability to create a recurring service charge in Spectora. And so it's targeting this almost exact mindset of whether do sprinkler blowouts, clean out gutters for people, or do an annual inspection. The gap I think you mentioned that's so important is like being able to have a solution in if you're going to point out that the HVAC, needs servicing or something like that, you better have someone in line and ready to book it for them, right? Instead of just saying, hey, here's a problem, I'm out. I'm out the door.
Absolutely.
And that's where the recommended contractors piece comes in. So I believe for those that are thinking like you, we're entering an era that's going to have like explosive growth for some of these companies.
Yeah. And it's, and I think it's changing the mindset even within inspection companies,
Mm-hmm.
I asked this question. We have a local inspection group, and I had asked this question, hey, what's the biggest problem facing the industry today? And one person said too many inspectors. The other one said that inspectors come in and just low value, right? They're charging $300, $200 for an inspection or whatever. And I'm like, I read those and I can respect those answers. I think they're actually spot on, but I think they're missing it because nothing about that was about growth, internal growth of their business. None, it just wasn't.
It's all reactive. Yeah. It's all, this is happening to us.
It's all, yep. You saw I had written down on a notepad, but it's, we're, as an industry, I feel like we're reactive, not proactive, we don't plan ahead for the future. We don't think about it. We kind of like, oh, I have 8, 10 inspections this week. Let's do them, and one person did say something on this group that was, he said something, but it's kind of on the side. And he said that, the only people that really do the marketing are the people who are just starting out or people that want to expand. And so I read that and I'm like, well, that means you're not doing marketing. And I went through, and I'm not trying to nitpick other companies, but I went and I spent one day and I went and looked at 50 to 100 websites.
Mm-hmm.
And they all say the exact same thing. There's nothing about them that do anything different.
Yeah.
There's a Facebook ad for an inspector in my area, it's targeting my area. Well, I think they were located in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
You had no idea. He probably had no idea that he was. No idea. So he's spending money on that. But this is what it said: we do radon, sewer, and thorough inspections. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. So do lots of people.
So you take that example, and you're not creating a problem for anybody else. If I was a homeowner, and I am a homeowner, why would I look at that and go, it's just selling your service, right?
We've got to take it a step further to expand to more value. You're right, because I think inspectors get nervous or mad or whatever when people mention home inspections as a commodity or it's becoming a commodity. And it's like, let's fight that by being more creative and adding more value, and let's make it not a commodity. So then the new guy that wants to charge 300 looks very cheap in comparison to someone that charges 400 or 500 and offers all these other things, all these other services and providers and referrals and all that.
Yeah. Yep. 100%.
Here's a question for you. I've noticed just anecdotally in my life, there's a lack of good handymen everywhere, just in all markets, basically. There's not a lack of people that know how to do all these things. There's just a lack of professional handyman businesses that are ready and willing to help people out with everyday things. When I think of an annual maintenance inspection or a checkup inspection that turns up all these little things, are these things just going to start needing to be done by home inspection companies in-house? Do you guys hire a handyman? Do you start connecting with others in your area? How does that all work in your eyes?
I think there's a creative way to do that. But in the state of Oregon, you're not allowed to bid or do any work of the house that you inspected for up to a year after.
Got it.
Right. Now, is there anything wrong with finding a guy who's licensed and maybe doing a different CCB, a different license,
mm-hmm.
And then having him kind of be, what if I have two companies?
Yeah.
Bridgetown inspections and Bridgetown maintenance. You know,
Yep.
I don't, is that allowed? I don't know. Is that a loophole? I don't know. I don't want to be dishonest. I want to be on the up and up. But those are the kind of things that I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
There's a guy who he's not licensed, but he said he's willing to get licensed. He works at a property management group right now. He only charges me $20 an hour. I mean, he hung up the barn doors and all this stuff for me. And nice guy. And I thought, man, if I could get him on board somehow, some way to be able to perform these maintenance things, because I'm always seeing on Facebook groups of like, hey, looking for this, looking for that. He's booked, looking for this. And if I have a guy that's my guy and I can
Beautiful.
control his schedule,
Beautiful.
nobody else will have that. You know what I mean? So you gotta, so yes, I want to do that. I just don't know. I got to figure out the legal way to do it.
Yeah, sure. And I think I had this conversation on the last episode with Super Inspector. It hasn't aired yet, but we talked about how in almost every other industry on the planet, there's referrals. People get paid for referrals. There's people with sister companies that fulfill business, as long as they're transparent and they say what's going on, and they tell the consumer that, hey, you can shop around for a handyman if you want. We have a company that does that exact thing. And Super Inspector said 10 times out of 10, the customer's like, yeah, can you just book it? I don't care who does. Like, I just need this baseboard done, you know?
I don't understand where the fear base came in. I don't understand that, you know. It's the ones like, I'm afraid I can't do that because why? Because you might get sued. How many times have you been sued? Never. Really? You know, if I'm inspecting a house, Kevin, and there's an exposed wire, what do you think I created that exposed wire? Do you think you have open ground. Do you think I created open ground in your house so I can make money on your open ground? That doesn't
Right.
make sense to me.
Yeah.
So why not just do it?
And we got to elevate the industry to just focus on being ethical, focus on solving problems, and we're all going to be okay. And I think I love where your head's at with this. I think that's a model that's going to take hold, and we're going to be definitely creating the tools so to make it easy to book these follow-up inspections. And I think that's the gap here is everyone's like, oh, everyone's tried annual maintenance inspections. It doesn't work. I think we suck at marketing as an industry. And so if we present it better and, give people the text message with a button with convenient times to just book it and tell them what's included, it's going to work.
Yeah, there's so I'm working on a campaign right now that I think it's going to work. It's sending it's not just an email campaign, but it's a marketing campaign. And it's an idea I have is, and I have somebody helping me with this, but we're going to be creating like an ebook of how to do stuff in your house. And for more information, click here. Now I have, so if they click, it's a Facebook ad or something like that. They click, now I have their email address.
Yep.
And I'll be, sending a free ebook that's being written right now. And then we'll send them emails and all that stuff. And hopefully it could be 5, 6, 7 weeks, but they're like, you know what, we're just going to hire this guy to come out and do our house. So that's kind of the idea.
Beautiful.
And look, it's not gonna be an overnight thing. It might take a month, it might take 2 months, it might take a quarter, it might take 2 quarters, but it's a marathon, not a sprint. And you've got to just like not give up so fast. I think I mentioned this last podcast, but when I first got started, I had these little signs that I made up. Says ask the inspector, and I was at a coffee shop, and I'm thinking that, man, everybody's gonna just like eat this up. They have a question about your house, they're gonna hop in. And I even was gonna buy them coffee and breakfast, right?
Nice.
Nothing. And on Facebook, I would actually go, yeah, it's great this morning, great discussion. And my wife, would be like, did you have anybody there? I'm like, no. Great discussion. Like, I had a great discussion with my kid who was there. So it's
but you took a shot. You took a shot.
And look, I did that for like 3 or 4 months. I mean, I was like, I did that. The next step is I want to, and I think other contractors, electricians, plumbers would eat this up. But I wanted to do, the story on Instagram. What do you call that? Live, the reel.
Mhm.
But I want to interview different electricians, like if I'm driving around and I see an electrician like at a house, I'm going to stop real quick and say, hey, can I ask you a few questions, and just like just record it, you know what I mean? On my
Yeah.
phone, and say, hey man, so tell me real quick what your thoughts are on this kind of electrical panel, go, just 2 minutes, man. This is going to go
Yeah.
out to thousands of people. Build it up. I don't care. What electrician, if I was on the side of the road and I'm about to inspect a house and somebody came and was like, hey, I'm doing a quick podcast, quick interview, can I ask you two questions? What do you inspect and how do you inspect it? Do you think I would say no to that?
Hell no.
I'd
Because
say
yeah,
no.
how often does someone ask you for your opinion in something you're a specialist in? That's amazing. I love this.
We don't do it. Nobody does it.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Content right there.
it's just, this is the way I feel like, and this is just my short stint into this industry. We overthink everything. It's when we make things complicated, execution declines. So we overthink all this stuff and it's too hard, and we just don't do it. We just don't. We don't. People talk about going to open houses. We don't go to open houses. People talk about calling agents. We don't go calling agents. If you're not calling agents, you have inspection company A and inspection company B. Inspection company B doesn't call any agents. Inspection company A will call 10 or 15 agents a day. This inspection company A will get business. In fact, so here's a trick. So these are all business cards right here of agents. Okay. When I go in and do a home inspection, on the kitchen counter, there's usually 4, 5, 6, right, from the ones that did the showing of the house. So
Mhm.
they usually just counter. When I do the inspection, because they're already under contract, right? The house is not being sold anymore.
Yeah.
I take those cards. And I put them in my bag.
So
I
smart.
get home the next day. Say I just inspected X house. I saw your card. If you don't have an inspection company, please use us. And the email's a little bit longer than that, right? And then the other ones I called, and I did call, and guess what? I called yesterday, and I did talk to one agent, and her inspector is on vacation.
Boom.
So I'm doing an inspection for her tomorrow, right? So it works. The thing is, people just don't do it. They say, oh, I'm too busy and all this stuff. I'm like, then here's a hard truth. Then you're looking at a short runway because your business is not going to last.
What a great little hack. I never even thought about that because I remember as an agent, yeah, I would show houses, all these cards just sitting on the table. What a great use of that.
Absolutely.
I bet the first time you did that, it felt just like a little like, man, this is like free money here that I'm like grabbing.
Like grabbing the cards and shoving them in your bag. Heck yeah. Absolutely. So it's whenever I can get a business card, whenever I see a business card, you said it. I do feel like it's kind of like it's money. It's that's a resource, right? That's a lead. I'm not paying for a lead. That's a lead. It's sitting right there on the kitchen counter.
Free leads.
So,
What else? What else top of mind? What else are you thinking? Because I think the value add with the inspections can lead into so many other things, right? Because what if you go in there, your guy goes in there, and the AC needs repair, needs to be replaced even. What if something hits end of life? Dishwasher. This could lead into a whole nother world of like, okay, do you refer them to the highest rated, dishwasher installer or appliance maintenance people?
I don't know. All I know is that to put in a dishwasher is super, super easy.
Right.
So I think it's where it's like, and again, it goes back to checking to see what's legal or not. And I may be wrong on this, but I believe that there's a certain threshold. So I think I might be able to do some kind of work under a threshold.
Got
So
it.
if it's under 5, but if it's 500, I'm only saying this because I can't do any contracting work
Mhm.
over a certain threshold. So I think I could do all the work under $1,300 or $500 per invoice,
Okay.
But to change out a water heater, think a lot of the stuff we can do ourselves. But it's also, why not look at contractors who say, hey, look, I inspect X amount of houses a year. I have a report that goes to the agent. So if you do think about it, if you do 500 inspections, that inspection report is going to two people, right? It's going to the agent and it's going to the client. So that right there is 1,000 people. Okay. Not only that, but if you do a good job, those people that are that use you, they're going to tell other people about you because they have that inspection report. And I can't tell you how many times people said, "Oh yeah, I'm using you, James, because I saw your inspection report shared by
Beautiful.
my friend, or my uncle, whatever." So let's just say 500 inspections a year. That's 1,000 people at minimum. So if you talk to J&J Plumbing, say, "Hey, I'm going to put you in my inspection report for them to call you whenever I find an issue." But it's not going to be free. So I tell you what, for X amount of dollars per month, I'll put you in there and for them to call you. There's no promises in them calling you,
Right.
but I guarantee, and if you do that, I'll do a live feed with podcast with you, or
Huge.
and share it to Instagram as kind of as a bonus. What do you be up to now? $20? So you mean tell me it's going to cost me like, I don't know what the price is, right? But you get my idea of charging them an amount. It's not an amount per inspection. You just say it's for me, it'd be a
Flat fee.
A flat fee. So I guess you could do it by inspection report, but then how do you track that, and how do you? So I don't,
I can tell you we're going to be offering the ability to do both flat fee and per contact form filled out. So then it's a trackable kind of lead source. And bottom line, for that J&J for that plumbing company, it's probably going to be the cheapest source of warm leads they'll ever be able to find, because they're doing Home Advisor, they're doing Thumbtack, they're probably doing all these other ways where they're probably paying 10, 20, $30, but it's not a warm recommendation from you. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much power in the trust that you've built with your people that plumbing company hopefully says, I want that transfer of trust. I'm going to take that all day.
Now, the problem I see right now is plumbers don't need that. Electricians don't need that. Everybody is several weeks out because the housing market is booming and they are slammed, right? So but it's a way to figure out, like, okay, so how can you spin it where they will say, yeah, we're busy, but that would be great to, I don't know. I haven't talked to a plumber or electrician about this yet. Are they too busy to be able to accept this? I don't know. But at the same time, we haven't asked yet.
True. We haven't asked. And then my reply, just off the top of my head, if I'm just brainstorming, would be, hey, I know you're probably booked a few weeks out. That's great. You probably don't even want leads right now. The great news about my clients is they don't close for about 3 weeks, 4 weeks. By the time they close, I send them a follow-up email. I let them know, hey, we're connected with some of the best partners in town. If you need anything for plumbing, click here. You probably want to fill up your pipeline. You don't want things to dry up after a few weeks. I don't know if that'll work or not. We'll see, but that would be my pitch.
Yeah. So I think it's out there. I think we just haven't asked. So I could definitely make that.
Yeah.
Try to make that work. So that'd be awesome.
It's a fair point though, because the best in town are probably going to be so backed up. They don't even want leads. Then are there other high quality plumbers that just maybe don't have 100 5-star Google reviews, maybe, that are hungry and willing to take leads. Maybe that's the gem, is finding them.
Yeah. And here's something else too. So we're talking about the economy and the housing market that we're in now. I was talking with somebody the other day because they were asking me about the housing market, and I said, "Well, yeah, I'm right now we're in the planning stages for a recession." And they're like, "Wait, where do you think that? We're not even close to that." I'm like, "Well, I know. Doesn't mean I'm not going to plan for it. We don't think about stuff that might happen 6 months or 8 months from now because we're living on this high. and we're not taking into consideration of things that might happen. I'm not trying to be a doomsday guy. I'm just saying that not everything so great will last for a long time, right?
Right.
So you
Right.
got to start planning now. So, and that's maybe a way that you can talk to your plumbers and all that stuff. Hey, we don't know. You're busy now, but you're 2 or 3 weeks out, but you may not be 2 or 3 weeks out in 2 months from now, and we'll already be set in place. So what's your backup plan if your leads stop?
Yeah. I mean,
it goes back. It goes back to what I said at the very beginning. You've got to define a problem they didn't know they had.
Right.
And that's just marketing 101, right? So if trying to put, you're trying to put fear in their eyes. But I think it would work. I definitely do.
We're 11 years into a bull market, and everyone's been saying that for 5-6 years that things will pull back, but like interest rates are a real lever that the government's gonna pull on, and those will increase. And so I just want every inspector of ours, I want Spectora to continue to grow, and that's through our inspectors. But if inspection volume gets cut by 25%, our job is partly to make sure that you guys still have the tools and we enable the things to still make the same revenue. If you can still make the same amount of money, that's great. So that's the goal. And I think this is the path to it, I think, is deepening that relationship with the homeowner, because that's what these multi-billion-dollar companies are coming in our industry to try to do, right? They want to deepen that relationship. And I think we can take it into our own hands,
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. 100%. Couldn't agree more.
What are your thoughts? There's Tom George, I think, on the episode where he was talking about, hey, I'm going to bring in a guy that cleans out gutters, that services HVAC, that does sprinkler blowouts. And then there was one other recurring type of job that I think he was convinced people need every couple months, and then trying to sell that as like a subscription package to have kind of that subscription revenue. I thought it was a great idea. Any downsides or reasons not to explore that? Obviously, you got to hire the guys to do it.
Well, but no, I think that's actually an awesome idea. I was thinking, so at UPS, I used to do marketing and sales, right? So I had accounts all over the place, and there was this guy who does filters. So he does a filter subscription. Filter order to your house, and I just ordered my filters. But sometimes people just don't know. We take it for granted that people don't know how to clean the gutter. People just don't. People don't know how to clean their gutters. They're afraid to clean their gutters. I have several friends that are just,
I don't want to deal with it.
Touching it, right? So I think if you can do it, I think if we can do it in-house, why not? Especially if you go back to like what I said earlier, when you go, hey, if we can try to get that bucket of just clients that forget about the buying and selling for a second, and those kind of clients, and say, hey, by the way, I noticed this. I'll tell you what, for X amount, we'll be able to clean your gutters for you. Here's a picture of it. We'll clean your gutters for you. Your filter has not been changed for a while, so we have new filters in the truck. We're going to put a new filter in, and we're going to pressure wash your driveway and your sidewalk and your decks. And I'll do that for $650 if you want to do it. Is that something that's of interest to you?
Boom, I'm sold. I don't want to have to remember to change my furnace filter. Like I'm late every time. I keep saying I'm going to put it on my calendar, and I just want one company to blow out my sprinklers, change my furnace filter, clean my gutters. And I would probably pay, and I think I represent the typical millennial / maybe Gen X. I'm kind of in a sandwich in between those two generations, my generation and the one above me. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I represent the typical one where it's like, I know how to do a little bit, but I don't want to do all that. I just kind of want to say, charge me $100 a month or whatever, and let's get it going.
Well, look, it's, especially guys and ladies, doesn't matter what the sex is, but people pay for Dollar Shave Club. So you get stuff you want it to be easy, is what I'm trying to get at. Yes. You want stuff, even if someone knows, like, listen, I know how to clean my gutters, but if somebody would come to me and say, hey, I'll clean your gutters, do this and do this. Where do I sign? You know, we had a 5 yards of mulch, you know, delivered. And we had a huge heat wave about a month ago. And I was out there and I was one wheelbarrow and I would dump it, you know, and I was sweating like crazy. I'd walk through the sprinkler, you know, and I can't do this. And then I went in the house and I lay down, you know, started falling asleep. There was a knock on my door and it was a guy who says, hey, I saw that you have a bunch of mulch, you know, do you want any help? I'm like, yeah, how much you want to charge me? He said, I'll charge you $120 and I'll put it, you know, over there and I'll smooth it all around. I paid that in a heartbeat. I went back in and took a nap. I woke up from my nap, went outside, paid him, and then he left. And I look at my yard and I'm like, that is done. So I think it's not, could I do it? Yeah. Do I know how to do that? Yeah. But it's on ease. So if you can sell people the ease of it, look, we're here now. I have the equipment here now. I have your filter right now. I have the water pressure now. Why not? Why not?
Yeah. Here's a button. All right. I just sent you a text. Just tap on that button and click OK. And then you're all set. I think if we make it convenient in that way, 100%, I think this will change our industry because you got people ordering $16, you know, milkshakes or juices just to have it delivered to them because it's easy to do from their phone, right? They just click a few taps and it gets delivered.
Man, I do DoorDash and I am sad to say, but for like, you know, I mean, I've overpaid for food, you know, I have. And so, you know, I get done with the bill, the fees and all that stuff. I'm like, geez, well, I just don't have to go out, you know, half an hour later, it's on my doorstep and I'm enjoying my food. Right. So I think convenience will be a huge part of that.
You know, you mentioned pressure washing. I'm trying to think now what else this could apply to. You know, you think of other lower consideration projects where there's either a lot of supply of it, a lot of, you know, painting. People can paint. Do they want to? Usually not.
Yeah. There's I don't want to go off subject, but an idea that I had a long time ago. My wife made fun of me, but I told her again the other day, and she's like, "Oh, that's actually not a bad idea." Something changed, but totally off rabbit trail. But taking garbage cans in and out. That's like I would pay a company if they would come and move my garbage cans to the street, and then at the end of the day, put my garbage cans back up.
Yeah, I 100%. I never like doing that. I never like doing that.
And do you know why? Because usually it's like it's a little 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, oh shit, the garbage cans have to go out, right?
Yep.
So, you know, I think you just got to take a whiteboard. You just got to start writing a bunch of these ideas down and figuring out what is that low hanging fruit that people can say, hey, I'll pay X amount of dollars. If you can do this, you know, that's fine. And not only that, but you can hire a college student. You can pay the guy $15, $16 an hour to do it.
Right.
I mean, let's be honest. I'm not going to be doing that stuff.
No.
You know, I'm going to go out selling this stuff, and I'm going to hire, you know, my nephew or some kind of college student to be able to do that. Can you run a pressure machine? You know, pressure washer? Not that hard. You know, it's not that hard at all. So window cleaning,
another one. Boom. See, it doesn't end. And I want to remind people, I was talking with Mike this morning about, we are in an age and a golden era of I call it the Uber/Postmates DoorDash generation, where everybody wants to just outsource everything. If you give them a button, that includes home ownership. That includes every millennial and, you know, and Gen Z that's buying a home right now. They don't want to do any of this. So who's going to do it? Who's going to soak it up? And so I think that just screams opportunity. And I think home inspectors, they have to start believing they can be the company that does this. And the rewards will accrue to the companies that say, yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it's going to take some logistics, but we're going to find the right people to do it.
I mean, you know, back to window cleaning, it's like, what if you charge for, you know, I don't like the term, you know, annual home maintenance, because I feel like that's been done and tried. And so it's kind of lost it's for me anyway. It's lost.
Well, we need a new name. Yeah, we need to call it something else.
We definitely have to rebrand that. But whatever that price might be, you know, you don't have to do the window cleaning yourself. You partner with another company, right? Say, hey, I'll tell you what I do. How much would you charge me to go to this house to do window cleaning? What, you know, like I said, I could promise you maybe 50 jobs a year. I don't know, X amount of jobs a year. well, James, usually I do $20 a window, but for you, I'll do like 10 to 15. Good, because I'm going to be charging $20 a window for that client. So
Yep.
now whatever, in a group package. So you don't have to do yourself. You just have to get creative and leverage and figure out who you want to utilize to maximize your revenue.
Yeah, I'm on board with this. I can't wait for the future with this, because I feel like a lot of fragmentation in the contractor spaces where people just Google it every time, and then they end up on Yelp or Home Advisor or Google reviews, and we're giving them a source.
Yeah, I tell the new people, don't be afraid of what other people say. Don't run your business according to Facebook. I think, my fault early on was you'd look and you see all these ideas pop up in Facebook and all that stuff, and then people just tear it down like crazy. And I guess that idea is not going to work. So you can't do that. You got to surround yourself with like-minded people, and whether they're in the inspection business or not. I'm trying to wrap myself around people that's not in the inspection company, but people that actually. I have a couple of people that have grown businesses, and I say, man, can you help me grow my business? He's like, man, I don't know anything about home inspections. That's perfect.
That's what we want. Perfect.
I want you to teach me how to run my business and grow my business according to you. You're a CEO of a tech company. I know that. Tell me how to grow my business and market share. So, and I think it's working, but we have to think outside the box.
Yeah. And there's so much room in the cheap seats for people that aren't on the field to throw peanuts, and it's not even worth listening to. Like, I want to hear from people that are doing something, that are actually trying to take a risk and grow their business. Everyone else, I just kind of ignore.
Yep. Yeah. And, shout out to your team. I know that, we talked earlier about websites. And so another thing I've learned just by talking to other people is you go look at several other websites in the About Us section. So this is kind of the direction I think we're headed. So Spectora, as we speak, is writing my new website. So that should be launched hopefully soon. So
nice.
Thank you guys. But it's the About Us. If you go to every single inspection company, the About Us is how many years they've done contracting or how many years they've done. But the About Us needs to really be about the client. And it needs to be about the person looking at it, right? Because you're saying that you've had 15 years of construction work. It doesn't solve my problem, right? It doesn't solve. It tells me how long you've been doing it,
right?
You say, 15 years. I have 15 years in construction, and you have popping floors, cracking walls, and doors that don't line up. We'll fix that for you, right? Or for the inspection company, it'd be something else. Something I said earlier is, you have moisture in your walls, you have windows that don't open and close, you have plumbing issues. We're going to find those for you. So now I'm going to hire this guy because he's going to solve my problem. So I did a little experiment, if you will. And yesterday I went to local websites and just websites in general.
Mm-hmm.
All
of
even my website right now, I'm in there, right? It's all about me. And I think part of rebranding and changing that direction to where we want to go as an industry, we got to start it's not about us. We got to start figuring out how we're going to solve the problem for these people. And then we'll see a huge increase in our industry of different revenue streams.
True marketer right there, man. You are a true marketer. It shows, because I think that's the key foundational principle to being a good marketer, is thinking about how the receiver of the message is viewing it. And you're absolutely right. We haven't even begun to get good at that as an industry.
No, I'm not. I didn't create this business to just do home inspections and go home. I did. My goal is to eventually not do home inspections. My goal is to run a company. So, if I have to think some strange ideas, and not every idea is going to be an award-winning idea. My Ask the Inspector at a Coffee Shop, that would be, that would go in the failure book. But I tried it. I can't say I didn't try it. So we'll see what the future looks like.
Can you start asking buyers or do some informal surveying? Because I'm so fascinated now with just asking buyers both after the inspection and then maybe even a few weeks later of like, what else are you struggling with? Like, what else in terms of the home could you use help with? I'd be so curious to hear their answers. I'm sure we could find some surveys, whatever, but
Yeah, yeah. Do buyers, after they've done through the whole process and that stress is over, now they're in the house, and they actually want to hear from you? I don't know, but I definitely have some clients that call me back and have questions, or that would probably be the primary, you know, um, way of doing things. Yeah. So,
because anecdotally, I think we have a great handyman. We lucked out one of my wife's friends' husbands, and we ask him everything now. And I can't get the idea out of my head that home inspectors can be that company. It doesn't have to be them, doesn't have to be you specifically, but maybe your organization is that for every new home buyer, where they just come to you because they know you're kind of the gateway to like solving their problems. That's the future I envision.
yeah. And there's a couple of things I wanted to ask you too, but one of the things we're going to do is, and this is by what I said, by stopping by and asking electricians and all this stuff. And I'm going to do that. But if it's on the report, if I say you need put in a GFCI outlet, and here's something more real. My bath exhaust fan, it's starting to get all dirty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Needs to be clean. By the way, that could be one of the things. We'll clean your bath fan.
Yeah, that's a good one.
No, nobody does that, right? So, but you have bath fan. How do you clean your bath fan? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy the equipment, and my 14-year-old is going to record me. How do you clean a bath fan? It's going to be on the YouTube, and then there's going to be a link on the report that's going to go directly back to my website, showing on that of how to do that. And it's going to be just a list of how-to videos, right, with a direct link. So I think if you can get in that habit of talking to your clients, and your clients say, hey, I'm going to go back to this website of how to do certain things. There's something that you mentioned in a podcast a while ago, and I don't remember. It's about services, and maybe the word inspection is getting lost, or maybe the word inspector or inspections is being overwhelmed. Maybe I think you're talking about all these in a podcast. You're talking about all these other services that we could possibly do. Maybe it's like, instead of Bridgetown inspections, maybe it's Bridgetown home services. And then you just brand, we do inspections, we do this. I think that might actually be the answer, instead of being so hung up on inspections. And by the way, this goes not just with our industry, but when I talk to agents about this, like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, you just stuck. You just stuck because it's been going the same way. You're just a yellow cab doing the exact same thing, right? And you're just not used of how long has Uber and Lyft been around?
Gosh, probably 10, 12, 15 years now.
Okay, so let's go 15 years from now. If I said, hey, by the way, taxis are going to probably be slower, and you're going to have strangers pick you up in your car to take you somewhere, you'd be like, no way. And if you're a taxi driver, you'd be like, no, that would never work. I'm just going to go ahead and drive my taxi. And I think that is the wrong mindset. And I think that mindset does not allow you to grow.
We never hear from the people that get passed up and go out of business. We never hear back from them. And that's the I think the hard part is it's easy to naysay, but we'll never hear from them again if things go this way and they didn't get on board, And so you're right. That's how innovation works, right?
I have agents that are upset at Open Door, Zillow, but guess what? Their industry, what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? They're going to come in, and they're
disruptors. They're disruptors.
They're disruptors. And so I guess I'm trying to figure out a way how I can be a disruptor.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about it. We're talking about it. Anything else on your list that you want to hit up before we got to run here?
No, just that. One of the things I've learned is surround yourself by like-minded people, think outside the box, and don't just be so focused on home inspections. Talk to other people, listen to other podcasts, other industry podcasts.
Any recommendations? Do you have any others that kind of have struck a chord with you?
Definitely the Business Made Simple podcast. They launch something once a week. I listen to Bigger Pockets. I'm sure you know who they are.
Good one.
But I listen to that one. Craig Groeschel, I think I pronounced his name right, but he does leadership, just how to be a better leader,
Okay.
Personally, and in business. So he's a pastor, but he talks to business owners primarily. So those are the three that my go-tos, and Spectora podcast, of course.
Awesome. I'll throw in my first million. So it's literally a brainstorming podcast, and it's usually tech ideas, but it's very easy to take what they're saying, try to apply it to our industry, and think about what's possible. So it gets my creative juices flowing.
Yep.
Cool.
So yeah, that's about all, man.
Awesome. Well, I'll link to those. I'll link to all those in the description. This is awesome. I love this. This is just like you said, this is more fun. This is what you wanted to do. This is what I wanted to do. We'll see how people respond, but thank you for reaching out. I think the success and kind of everything you've gone through, even in the last year, is amazing to see. And sounds like you're just getting started. So I love it.
Yeah. It'd be fun to do is do a roundtable. So maybe invite, I don't have to be invited. I'm just saying, do like 5 or 6 inspectors that you've had on before, and do a roundtable and just throw out spitball ideas.
Done.
That's just an idea. So.
Done. See, we brainstormed about brainstorming, and it's going to happen.
There you go, man. Awesome. Well, thank you.
All right, James. Thanks, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Nice.
All right.
I see you, bud.
Hi everyone, this is Louis from Spectora. I'm going to put 3 links down in the description below. The first link is for you if you like Spectora, but maybe you just have a couple questions. You can schedule a 15-minute discovery call with someone from our client success team to make sure that Spectora is a great fit for you. It is, by the way. If you're ready to dive in and start using the app, the second link is for our free trial. With the average cost of a home inspection, that's a couple $1,000s that you'll pocket before you pay us a dime. And the third link is for our Spectora Jumpstart program. If you're a brand new home inspector, you probably need a website, or maybe you have a website that you just kind of threw up real quick and you're not super thrilled with it. In the Jumpstart program, we'll make you a great website based on feedback from you to make sure that it reflects your business, your market, and you. We'll optimize it for search engines, and we'll put an online scheduler on your website too, so you can spend less time on the phone and more time out in the field working. We'll also bundle it with a full year of the Spectora app, and we'll do it at a great price too. Hey, thanks for watching this video. I hope you check out other videos on this channel, and take care.